Hello guys, I am back from another video, and today we're talking about what if Deku was an Oni. So, in the last video we talked about how during his time basically training, they would decide to have a little bit of a drinking party. Not really drinking as in drinking alcohol, but just juice. As they're celebrating that they're gonna be doing the UA entrance exam. They're excited and asked if they want to become heroes for wanting reasons why. In Izuku's case, he wants to become a hero so he can save people, and for Ibara, she wants to help people with, God. And as for Kineko, she wants to do it so she can help out her family slash Izuku's family. Because after all, they're basically like siblings. Maybe until the later episodes at least. So, after doing that, it's basically the day of the entrance exam as they start walking there together as when they get ready for the practical exam, they would see that the blue-haired boy is basically talking down to one of the teachers. In this case, President Mike. As when he sees Izuku wielding a goddamn sword and goddamn kanabo, he would start spouting out saying, "Why the hell are you wielding a weapon? This is not allowed," and blah 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 blah. But Izuku would retort, saying that he's, using these because he has just a strength enhancement quirk. So, if he doesn't have any weapons, it would mean that he's gonna fucking die. So, yeah. Because of this, let's just say he was, rebutted to the point. So he stopped talking to him. So after that, they would start getting ready for the actual practical exam, as the practical exam would be a breeze for him, basically destroying everything, as in the scoreboard he would be in number 1. The second being a kid which is named Bakugo Katsuki. So, after a bit of fighting some of these pointers, he would decide to jump on a roof and sees both Kineko and Ibara basically there as well. Apparently Kineko kind of twisted her leg a little, as Izuku, being kind of a bit of an overprotective brother, would tell her to at least go to the nurse's office to fix up her leg. She would retort that she wanted to go there, but she can handle it by herself. But a while of talking, and I mean a while of talking, they would see that the looming shadows behind them, as they would realize that it's a zero-pointer. Apparently, some of the heroes, seeing all of this, including seeing Izuku, aka the freaking Oni that caused all of this trouble, including killing innocent people, they would decide to maybe have some fun with them. Or at least, him in this case. And also learning from Aizawa that he kind of lost his memories about all of the incidents that he caused. Well, he wants to have a bit of payback. In this case, having the zero-pointer kick him in the ass. So, after a while basically fighting this thing, he would see a brown-haired girl similar to, Kineko, but except to have a different face structure. She has a bit of more chubby cheeks than anything else. So, after he would kill or destroy the zero-pointer with his technique, aka Ishina Daitensho, which he basically sliced off the head of the zero-pointer diagonally, destroying it in an instant, causing it to explode. Everybody would be impressed, as he would bring both the girls to the nurse's office to get fixed up. And as for the girl, which her name was Oshaka Uraka, well, both of the girls, aka Ibara and Kineko, they would be jealous. After all, they did have a crush on him. After that day, they're waiting for their letter. After a bit of a few days, they would get their letters, and it turns out that they're going to be in the same class, which they're excited. And as for a little time of having a bit of a party, in this case having some pizza, well, Izuku would have a piece of cheese all over his face, as for Ibara, she would decide to, lick it off his face, as, well, let's just say Kineko was jealous. And after that little party, she would basically kick him in the balls, saying that he's a pervert, and just leaves. And as for Izuku having his balls twisted, he would fall asleep just to get the pain, just get it away from him, just like try to make the pain go away. So yeah, that is basically what happened last episode. Well, that's a completely like long explanation about what happened last episode. So yeah, I should probably stop. So yeah, so this is basically what happened last episode, and so let's talk about what happens next. So, as Izuku would get his brand new uniform for UA, he would look in the mirror as he would say this. Huh, this uniform actually fits me, including my horns for some reason. And I'm kind of worried how they got my measurements. Anyway, as he starts getting out of his room, he would see Kineko also wearing her uniform as she would say this. What are you looking at? As he would say this to her, like to himself. Dang, she's kind of beautiful. No, she's basically my sister, god damn it, don't think that. As he would shake his head as he would say this. You look fine. As she would say this. Really? Thank you, I guess. As they would hear their mother basically telling them that it's finally breakfast. After they came down to basically eat breakfast, they started leaving and they started reuniting with their old friend, aka Ibarra. So, they decided to walk to UA basically together. After a while of basically walking, they arrived at UA as they see the campus is bustling with several new students, including some that are completely familiar to Izuku, some from their neighborhood. So, after a while of basically walking, they would arrive at their specific, wait for a second, at their classroom, as one of them would say this, being Kinoko. Why is the door pretty big? As he would say this. I'm guessing it's for gigantification quirks, I'm guessing, says Izuku, as one of them would say this, being, wait for a second, god dang it. Ibarra would say this. Huh, I guess that makes sense. After all, there are some specialized quirks to say the least, as he would say this. Agreed, just like yours. As she would say this. Thanks for, making me an example. She would start, putting her fingers together as she starts blushing, as Kiriko would start, why do I feel like I'm being cucked? Just imagine it just like the usual, cuck situation. So, yeah. So, after a while basically looking at the door, they would walk in as they see two students basically fighting. As Izuku would recognize one of them, being the guy that was in the entrance exam that was basically lecturing him for basically bringing in a weapon. And by the way, he's also bringing, the Blood River Blade and also the Kanabo, but the Kanabo, it's in his shoulder, or at least in a holster. As he would look as he would see another person, as he seems to have blonde hair and red bloodshot eyes. Not really bloodshot, they're completely blood red. As both of them would look over as he would say this, being the blue-haired boy. Ah, hello there, and I'm guessing you're one of my new classmates, right? As he would say this. Yeah, you're the guy from the entrance exam, the guy that, as you would say this. Oh, we can just probably just move that alongside, and yeah, I'm kind of sorry. And I was, impressed for you, or at least impressed that you decided to save that girl. As he would say this. Well, that's after all a hero's job. As he would say this. Anyway, nice to meet you. As he brings out his hand, as he would say this. My name is Tenya Ida. As he would say this. Nice to meet you. As they would do a handshake, as this blonde-haired boy would say this. Whatever. As he would say this. And might who you be? As he would say this. The name's Katsuki Bakugo, but you can just call me Bakugo for short. And I'm gonna become the #1 hero, and you better listen to me, nerd. As he would say this. Nerd? As he would say this. Yeah, he kinda looked like that. Kinda like a nerd. And you better stay away from me, Extra, because I'm gonna become the hero of this story, and nobody else is going to win but me. As you'd say this, he's a bit of a hypocrite. As you'd decide to maybe sit in front of the class with the rest of his, well, friends. In this case, Ibarra and Kinako. Typical. So, as the rest of the students arrive, they would start talking, except for, well, Ibarra, him, and also Kinako, because they decide to talk to each other instead of them. As one of these boys, which is a boy with, not technically hair, he basically has, like, balls, like purple balls. Not those balls, not, not those balls, like, not those balls. I mean, like actual balls, as in like tennis balls. As he would look at one of the girls, being Ibarra, as he starts drooling. As Izuku would notice, as he would unsheath his blade, as he would say this. Who the hell are you looking at? As he would say this. Eek! I didn't mean anything. I wasn't looking at you. I was looking at that girl. As he would say this. So I'm guessing you're a pervert as well. As everybody would just start looking at, well, Izuku wielding a blade, as one of them would say this, being, well, a girl with black hair tied up in a bun. Wait, I thought weapons were not allowed in the school. As he would say this, well, because I only use, not really use, it's more like my typical quirk. I have a strength enhancement quirk, but it's also technically a mutation. See my horns? That's the mutation. As everybody would see his horns, as one of them would say this. Being a girl with similar horns, but, well, she only has 2. As for Izuku, he would have, well, 4. As she would say this. You have horns too? That's cool. As he would look over and sees a girl with horns, almost, dark eyes with, well, golden irises, as she has a weird stint, like a weird-ass skin tone, to say the least. I mean, in this world, it's basically weird as hell, because we literally have a character that is literally just like a tube of glue. Anyway, she seems to have pink skin and pink hair, as she would say this. So we're basically like twins, as you would say this. Not technically, I guess. As you would say this. As for you, what's your name exactly? As she would say this. The name's Momo Yaoyorozu. As you would say this. Well, Momo Yaoyorozu, I have a strength enhancement quirk, but I also technically have a mutation, so yeah, I had to use weapons because it's much more easier and much more effective, to say the least. Besides, would you want me to die in case of, like, I don't know, a villain attack or something? As she would say this. Weapons, I don't want that. As he would say this. Then maybe next time, don't try and, say anything stupid or something like that. I don't know. As she would say this. I see. She would kind of laugh, awkwardly, as they would hear the sound of the door opening as they see a yellow caterpillar? As one of them would say this, being Mina Ashido, being the pink-haired and also pink-skinned girl. Wait, is that a caterpillar monster? As Izuku would say this. That is definitely not a caterpillar monster, or actually, as he sees the underside of this weird thing, as it turns out it's a sleeping bag, as when he opens it, he sees, actually, he doesn't even know what to say anymore. Like, this man looks like he never slept in a life. Like, he never even slept on, like, he looks like that he never slept any time of the day. Like, he literally looks like he chugged several energy drinks and nothing else. Just like, only drank energy drinks, nothing else. As he would say this. Hey, kid. Oh well, nice to meet you all. As he goes back to his seat, as he would say this. I'm your teacher. The name's Mr. Aizawa, but you can call me by my hero name, Eraserhead. As everybody would just be in silence, except for Izuku, as he would say this. You mean that eraserhead? The underground hero? As you would say this. Oh, it seems that we have somebody that knows my, um, hero work at least. Anyway, I want all of you to go outside because we're gonna be having our quirk assessment test. As one person would raise their hand, being the blue-haired boy. Sir Aizawa, we're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to go to the I'm at the orientation, so as he would say this. So daring to defy me? You better get out there or I'll just expel you outright. And don't even try and test me. I did expel a class for being so annoying that one time. And trust me, I didn't even hesitate. As everybody would just be in shock, as Izuku would say this. I guess we should probably go. As he starts packing all of his things, as he would say this. No, not like that. I mean like, as he would grab a jumpsuit and gives it to Izuku, as he would say this. Now go to the locker rooms and get outside after you worn your, jumpsuit. Or, tracksuit or whatever. So, as every boy and every girl from Class 1A starts going to their specific, locker rooms, they started changing as some of the boys are looking at his, body as they see weird-looking tattoos. As one of them would say this, being a red-haired and red-eyed man with sadistically sharp teeth. Whoa, you have tattoos? That's actually manly, dude. As he would say this. Thank you, I guess. As he would say this. Dude, what happened to your muscles? Damn, you're strong. Maybe even stronger than me. As he would say this. Thanks, I guess. As he would say this. Can you please tell me about your workout schedule or anything like that? I'm quite interested in that. As he would say this. Well, I mostly do training in my kanabo and my sword. Or my katana. As he would say this. I can see that, and dang. As he starts, touching his horns, as he would say this. Hey, stop touching them! As one of them would say this, being, Mineta. She's currently looking at the wall for some reason. So, when Izuku looks over, he would see that, Mineta is currently looking through a hole that's connected to the girls' locker room. Let's just say, when Izuku saw that, he would grab his kanabo without hesitation and almost squashed, Mineta's head, as he would say this. What did you do? I didn't mean... As he would say this. Don't you dare look at the girls' locker room. You damn disgusting little filth like you. As he starts grabbing his kanabo, as he's screaming for help, as one of them would say this. Hey, stop that. Says a blonde-haired boy with a black streak across his head. Or should I say, across his hair. As he would say this. Dude, don't do that. And besides, we're supposed to be heroes, as he would say this. Well, this so-called of a hero decided to peek on some girls. It makes me sick. As one of them would say this, being, Ida. Izuku, can you please calm down? And, I mean, I do agree with you, but it's better to just leave him alone for now. As he would say this. Fine. As for Mineta, he's currently pissing in his pants. So, let's go to the girls right now. So, as for the girls, they heard the sound of, a thump, as one of them would recognize a little hole in the, in the wall, as it's connected to the boys' locker room, as it turns out that, Mineta is peeking through that hole, as Izuku's basically plugging it up, as one of them would say this. Oh, thank God, says a girl, as one of them would say this. What happened? And what was that thump? As she would explain, as one of them would say this, being, wait for a second. Ibarra would say this. That damn sinful monster would get what he deserves later. Divulging in the sin of lust, makes me sick. As one of them would say this. Hey girl, what is your sin thing or whatever? As one of them would say this, being Kinako. She's a bit of a, a bit of a, Christian to say the least. As one of them would say this, so she's devoted to God or something like that? Says, Mina. As she would say this. Exactly. And when God showed me his light, I realized that rest of the people that are sinful, like for example that grape-haired man, deserves to go to hell. As one of them would say this, being a girl with ear jacks for earlobes. I do agree. As one of them would say this, so saw you and that Izuku guy talking to each other. And also you, Kiriko, I think that's her name. As Kinako would say this, yeah, why is that? As she would say this, being, Mina. Well, I think you're pretty close to him. I wanted to ask, are you like friends or as they would say this? Well, specifically for, Ibarra, she would say this. We're pretty close friends, since childhood at least. As one of them would say this. Cool, so you're childhood friends? As one of them would say this. Yeah. As one of them would say this. So, Kiriko, I heard from Izuku that you're his sister. As she would say this. Adopted sister, to be more precise. As Momo would say this. So, you're not even related by blood? As she would say this. Yeah. He, my mother and father decided to adopt him. After all, he didn't have a home. At least anymore now. Including his family is basically gone. So we decided to adopt him and, things turn out like this. As one of them would say this. I see. As they hear the sound of, Aizawa basically telling everybody to get out already. So, as everybody basically comes out of the, locker room, at the locker room, sorry about that, wait for a second. Coming out of the locker rooms, they would see Izuku currently just wearing just like the suit, or more specifically the jumpsuit, but not wearing like an undershirt. Actually, kind of, he's basically just wearing a crop top, as everybody would see his glistening abs. As one of them specifically, Kiriko is starting to nosebleed. As Mina sees this, as she would say this to herself, or at least in her mind. Sweet home Alabama. You made me do this. One of you commented like Sweet Home Alabama shit on that, on one of those videos, or the last video of this. I couldn't stop laughing because of that. So, props to you, I guess. So, as one of them would say this, or more specifically, Aizawa. So, as he throws a ball towards Izuku, he would say this. I want you to throw the ball. After all, you were the first. To get first place, at least. As one of them would say this. Wait, he got first place? That's unfair. I'm supposed to be the number one here. As Izuku would look, including everybody, as they would see it, that it's Bakugo. As Izuku would say this. Just shut up. As he would say this. So, you're allowed to use your quirk, and you're allowed to use your equipment over there. As he would say this. I see as he ball and starts bouncing it up and down, onto the floor, up into the sky, as it starts bouncing a little bit more and more and more, as he grabs his kanabo and basically uses it like a baseball bat, as the baseball would be flying. As it turns out, he would get, kind of like 1, centimeter almost to infinite. As he would say this. Well, that's a big record push. Okay, you almost got infinite, so yeah. As everybody's just like everybody's jaws would drop as Bakugo would say this. The hell does he think he is? As he starts, creating little explosions. So, the rest of the tests were pretty easy for Izuku, except for the baseball test, or the throwing test, or whatever. So, because, just like in canon, or at least I think so. I kind of forgot. Um, I think Ochako would use her gravity to just like boop, and basically the ball is basically floating up in the sky, never to be seen again. So yeah, it turns out Izuku got second place, kind of, and for others, they would have similar placeholders, and for, well, the first place would go, surprisingly, to Ibarra, as Bakugo would be pissed. Bakugo would be pissed all day long, as he would start charging towards Ibarra, as when Izuku saw that, he would grab his sword and almost reaching through the neck, or more specifically, his sword almost basically touching the neck of Bakugo. Bakugo would stop in an instant, as for a certain, sleepyhead over there, aka Zawa, would notice this, as he would say this. Huh, what an interesting student. Unlike all of those problem children right there. As he would say this, everybody get back to class. We're just gonna be having a normal-ish class, to say the least, and then all of you are going home. So, after a while of just like doing normal classes, which is surprising to everybody because they thought they're just gonna do some hero work and maybe some hero classes, but it turns out it's just basically normal high school, but with some hero elements. So yeah, after that, they would start to leave, as Izuku would decide to go home with both Ibarra and Kinako. But while they're going to go leave, they would be stopped by both Ochako and Ida. Ochako would ask if they want to go home together, as they would all agree. After they all gone home, Izuku and Ibarra and also, Kinako would go back to their house, as they did a little bit of a not really a party, more like hang out a little bit, as Ibarra would go back home, as they decide to go to sleep, to go, to get ready for the next day of UA. So yeah, this is basically the end of this episode. So I hope you all I hope all of you liked the video, comment, and subscribe, and hope to see you guys next time. Bye bye!